Hi, this is Mrs. May. Today we're going to be continuing our exploration with solving inequalities. On our last video, we talked about making sure that if you have an inequality sign that needs to be flipped, if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, to isolate the variable, you need to flip the inequality signs to their opposites. You'll notice that this is the same slide as before. I just wanted to give you a reminder. Today we're going to be looking at what happens when we have an and/or situation where we have x in two different situations. So we've got two equations, or excuse me, two inequalities. One says x is less than 2, and the other one says or x is greater than 4. So I'm going to draw myself some numbers on here. And I'm going to start with 2 in the middle. So make sure we have 4 in there, and I'm going to put 5 just to make sure we have on both sides of our numbers. It says x is less than 2. So it doesn't say x is less than or equal to 2. So I want to make sure I have that open circle. It says x is less than 2, so I want to draw to the left indicating it's less than 2, or x is greater than 4. So not equal to 4, so I'm going to leave that open. Notice that I have a solution set here that is anything less than 2 and anything greater than 4. So the only numbers excluded out of this solution set would be the numbers 2, 3, 4, and then anything in between them. We have a situation where we've got negative 9 is less than or equal to negative 4 times x minus 5 is less than 3. Notice the x is not by itself, so we need to do some moving around in order to solve this equation. So to do this, we've got this negative 4x minus 5. We want to add 5 because this is a negative 5. So we are going to add 5 to all sides of this equation, because we've got two inequality signs. The number line's going to get in the way. I should have had it in a different spot. We got negative 9 plus 5, which is negative 4. That we are left with this less than sign, negative 4 times x. This is now gone, and I've got 3 plus 5, which is 8. So still don't have x by itself. Notice that we've got this negative 4 that's being multiplied there, so we're going to divide out that negative 4, and we're going to do that on both sides. We've got to be fair to both sides of our inequality here. So we've got negative 4 divided by negative 4, which is 1. But we're dividing by a negative number, so I have to flip that sign. We've got negative 4 divided by negative 4. That leaves x by itself. And again, I'm divided by negative 4, so I have to flip that sign. So we've got 8 divided by negative 4, which is negative 2. So a couple of things here. We had to be fair to both sides of the inequalities because we've got inequalities on both sides, so we have to be fair to that. And then we also have to flip the signs because we're dealing with some negative numbers. So when I go to actually make this number line, I'm going to start it with negative 3. We get enough both sides of our numbers that we've got indicated here. So we've got x is less than 1, because remember we're reading it from the x. We've got x is less than 1. I'm going to leave that open. X is less than 1. But x is also greater than negative 2. So my solution set is right here. Notice I didn't include 1 and I didn't include negative 2 because it doesn't say that they're equal to that. So my solution set is indicated right here in between those two numbers. So a lot going on with that problem. The reason it doesn't have Additional solutions is because it doesn't say or, and it's just those numbers in between. So stop the video and take these notes because I'm going to erase this so we can get to the next problem. Okay, so looking at, we've got a lot going on with this one. We've got actually what is really two separate equations or two separate inequalities because of this or here in the middle. So we are going to treat this as its own problem and this one as its own problem, but not forgetting that we have that or in the middle. So we're going to first start with solving this equation. And we've got to move this positive 1 to the other side of the equation by subtracting that out of there. So that gives us 5x is less than 5. 5 by 5 sides. We get x is less than -1. Notice I was dividing by a positive 5, so I didn't have to flip my sign over. So I'm going to write it over here because I want to erase that. So I've got x is less than -1, or, remember we had that or situation. So I can look up my other problem here. We've got 6 times x minus 2, so I'm going to add 2. Opposite of a -2 is a positive 2, which leaves us 6 times x is greater than 12. Of that 6 is greater than 2. Again, we've got this situation where we're dividing by a positive, so we don't have to worry about flipping that sign. So we've got x is less than -1 or x is greater than 2. Page a little bit here. So when I go to graph this, again, we want to make sure that we've got enough numbers out here. Not very neat, but there we go. We've got x is less than -1, so I'm going to make it an open circle. X is less than -1, or x is greater than 2, open circle. So again, treating it like it's two separate equations and not forgetting about the or sign. Here's a practice problem for you. We've got two separate equations, so you want to pause this. Please note that the or is here, so don't forget about that. And we've got pretty lengthy steps to create. So you're going to need to solve for x on this equation. And then we need to solve for x on this equation. So make sure you pay attention to whether you're dividing by positives or negatives or not. And when you come into class, we will sit and we will discuss these two problems. Thank you and have a good day.